To pay a vendor prior to him shipping the product, you have to follow this procedure. First requirement is having a GL account that has an asset called vendor deposits. So if I go to my chart of accounts and I go down to accounts receivable, you'll see I have a vendor's deposits account. It's an asset. If the vendor never ships the product, he'll send back our money. The second thing we need to do is to create a checking account by using the checkbook icon. And I'm going to go into my operations, vendor deposits. I made that by using this little plus key here, and I created this new checking account. So on vendor deposits, you'll see I use the GL account here called vendor deposits. That's what my thing is going to credit. So I'm going to close this, say OK. Now I'm going to create a purchase order by going to purchasing and then going to create receive PO. I'm going to say it's a new purchase order. My vendor is Admiral Craft. Now on your PO number, what I like to do is to designate that it is a prepaid PO. So I can put a little dash here and put PPO. So I know it's a prepaid order, and I won't mess up my numbering system. So at this point I say OK. Then I go and look up a vendor SKU, which is going to be the Black Diamond Planetary Mixer. And that is a cost of $1,090.20 to my vendor. So I'm just going to order one and click OK. At this point, I'm going to say save and process now. Now I haven't released it, but I could by just sending out an email. Okay, at this point I'm waiting for my item. So let's close this and go over to our checkbook under the accounting tab, to our checkbook, and say we're going to cut this guy a check. So we'll say add a check, and the check is to a vendor, not a customer, and that vendor is Admiral Craft. And the amount of that check is $1090.20. And my GL account that I'm going to charge is my vendor deposits. This account right here. Now here I could put a memo with my PO number if I wish for further tracking. It's your choice. Or just put PPO if you want, so everyone knows it's a prepaid order. And then click that and print your check. Okay, so now we went ahead, and if you look at your print checks, you'll see there's a check we have to print. The item has now been received. So I go back to purchasing, and I go to my create receive and receive PO. Here's my Admiral Craft that I just received in. So I go in and say receive edit. I put my vendor invoice number in. If I have any freight or anything I added in here, and I say OK. How many did I receive? I can just click receive all. It's faster than going line by line. So here's the 1,090 that we've already prepaid, now going over to our payable system. So we're going to say save and receive now. Okay, it's now in our inventory. Now I got to get it out of my payables, so I'm closing here. And if I go over to my accounting, into AP processing, here is my unposted invoice for Admiralcraft. So I'm going to go ahead and post this thing by checking this little box and say post approved. Now, if I went in my payable system, I would see that invoice as an open payable. But we're going to clear that up by closing this. Excuse me, going to my AP processing. I did the post approved, so it's posted now. And this is where we're going to actually pay it. So I'm going to say pay all. So after I had posted it, I'm going to pay it. Process paid. Now here's where I'm going to change my checking account to my vendor deposits account. So this is what we're going to pay out of this pseudo checking account, which is not going to affect my cash. I say process. I can preview it or just cancel. This processed it for us. Okay, it's no longer in posted. So I close. It's no longer in my payables. So let's take a look at my post transactions. Okay, so the first thing we did is we cut a check, this check number, and we credited our cash and debited our vendor deposits account. The next thing we did is we received the stock. That was a debit to inventory, a credit to purchases clearing. The next one is we went to payables and created the payables and cleared our purchases clearing that we had charged the one before. Then the last step is we used our special checking account and we credited the vendor deposits and we debited accounts payable. So we zeroed out the deposits and zeroed out payables. That is the process you'll use for prepaid vendor purchase orders. Thank you.